Don't return fruit. Fruit's a gamble. I know that going in.
Are you a gun enthusiast? Love to shop for guns, but are also looking for friendly service? Well, you're in luck. Top Gun Supply is the friendly gun shop. Staff is very knowledgeable, happy to see you when you walk through the door, and can assist you with all your gun shopping needs. Top Gun Supply stocks a wide range of firearms, such as Ruger, Beretta, Sig Sauer, HK, and LWRC. So stop on by at Top Gun Supply. Top Gun Supply, the friendly gun shop, a proud sponsor of the Armchair Quarterbacks. Armchair Quarterback Radio is AFC South country, all NFL season long.
They hand it off for Ned. He's driving, and he's in for the touchdown. Wow!
Drive starts at the 1 and looking for a little breathing room, and they get that and plenty more. Derrick Henry still going. Stays in bounds. He might go. 99 yards for the touchdown. Unbelievable.
2nd and 10. Empty set. Walk downfield. And that is Hilton again. 1st and goal. Ebron. What a year for him. Eric Ebron.
Touchdown. Goal. Slant. Caught. Touchdown. Marquise Lee. And he punched the ball into the stands. Deep. And he's got it. Keelan Cole. Touchdown, Jacksonville.
Stay locked in to the AFC South on Armchair Quarterback Radio.
World air quality is at an all-time low.
But hey, that doesn't mean you can't have a little fun. New from Mattel, it's the greenhouse gas gun. Do you hate the snowman next door? Use the greenhouse gas gun. Want to piss off an entire room full of tree huggers? Use the greenhouse gas gun. There is simply no end to the amount of fun and respiratory disease you can have with the greenhouse gas gun.
Armchair. We are the Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
He only has 3 rings.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio's #1 sports station.
The Armchair Quarterbacks got you covered. Don't miss a moment of Armchair Quarterbacks Masters Week.
Arnold Palmer is the Masters champion of 1960. He has birdied the last 2 holes. One of the greatest displays of courageous golf that anybody has ever seen any place.
Maybe. Yes, sir. There it is. Can you believe it? Nick Faldo. There it is. A win for the ages. Is it his time? Yes!
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow! In your life, have you seen anything like that?
Week-long coverage of the Masters here on Armchair Quarterbacks, CBS Sports Radio.
This is what friendship means to me. Having so much crap on someone that they can't ever reveal the crap they have on you.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's morning.
Yes, and what a lovely morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under
found out you can't touch your palm to your shoulder.
I'm really trying.
Armchair.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Ex-Hawaii record-setting quarterback Colt Brennan dead at the age of 37. Colt Brennan, who set numerous NCAA records as the quarterback of the University of Hawaii, has died at the age of 37, according to his father, Terry Brennan. Terry Brennan told reporters that his son died early Tuesday morning at a hospital in Newport Beach, California. The day before, the paramedics were called to a hotel room where Brennan had been with other people. Brennan said his son had ingested something laced with fentanyl and never regained consciousness. Colt Brennan's run of success from 2005 to 2007 helped put the Hawaii football program on the map. He passed for more than 4,000 yards 3 times, including 5,549 yards in 2006. That season, he set single-season records for touchdown passes with 58. The record was surpassed by Joe Burrow of LSU in 2019. Brennan's all-time career touchdown passes of 131 is 4th all-time in NCAA history. Brennan finished 6th in the Heisman voting in 2006 and 3rd in 2007. The 2007 team finished the regular season 12-0 and 10th in the Associated Press before losing to the Georgia Bulldogs in the Sugar Bowl. The Oakland A's said on Tuesday they will start exploring the possibility of relocating with the blessing of Major League Baseball, a move that could pressure local government officials to greenlight a new stadium project that has spent years in limbo. The A's, who have played in Oakland since 1968, have prioritized building a waterfront stadium in downtown Oakland, but after years of failed stadium plans and weeks after the organization requested the city council vote on the $12 billion development plan before mid-July, the long-anticipated specter of the A's looking into relocating became a reality on Tuesday. Several cities have been rumored, including Nashville, Tennessee, Las Vegas, and Montreal. The Athletics have moved twice since the franchise was founded in Philadelphia, arriving in Kansas City in 1955 and in Oakland in 1968. We've got a full slate of Major League Baseball on Wednesday. It all begins at 12:10 Eastern. The New York Mets and Taijuan Walker host Matt Harvey and the Baltimore Orioles as the Dark Knight returns to Gotham. At 12:35 Eastern, Sonny Gray versus Cahill. Reds are at the Pirates. And at 1:10, Zach Davies and the Chicago Cubs invade Cleveland and Sam Hentges. Your midday game is San Diego at Colorado at 3:10. At 6 o'clock, they'll finish up that doubleheader with the Rockies and the Padres. And at 7:05, Phillies at the Nats. Leicester versus Wheeler. Kansas City and Detroit do battle, along with Boston and Oakland, and the Rays and Tampa are at it again, while the Atlanta Braves and Max Fried take on Toronto in Hoenjin Ryu. At 7:40, the Cardinals and John Gant are at the Milwaukee Brewers. Other games late, you've got LA at Houston, Minnesota at the White Sox, Miami at Arizona, and the Dodgers host the Seattle Mariners. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast. Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. The Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern Sports Talk. Good morning, Mr. Sean O'Toole.
Good morning, Mr. Mac McGee. I don't know much, but when I turned on the Rays-Yankees game last night, I thought the WNBA was on because they were interviewing Tyler Glass now. I could hear you in the back of my head like Sam Elliott and Tombstone going, what the heck kind of town is this? Let's go.
Hi, I'm Mac McGinn. I don't know much, but I know one thing. Week 1 of the schedule release for the National Football League is out. We have it via courteous of CBS Sports, and we're going to jump into it on the other side of this. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Why do you want to join a force?
Protect the property and citizenry of the
Oh,
city.
please don't waste my time with that. Where are you from, Stone?
From the south side.
Stone. George Stone. That's your name? What's your real name?
That is my real name.
Now, what was it before you changed it?
Giuseppe Petri.
Jeez, I knew it. That's all you need, one thieving wop on the team.
What's that you say?
I said that you're a lying member of a no-good race.
It's much better than you stinking Irish pig.
Oh, I like her.
Yeah, I like it too.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. I'm Mac McGee sitting alongside Sean O'Toole. Sean, are you ready for NFL schedule release?
I am ready to see exactly what the autopsy sheet will be scheduled to look like for the Detroit Lions. Yes, sir.
Fair enough. We're going to go diving right into this really quickly because the NFL schedule of week 1 is already out. We did not expect this. I got it sent to me via CBS Sports, and then it started leaking on Twitter already. Somebody did something they shouldn't have done. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, somebody.
We will leave that at another time, but this is what it's looking like in week 1. So go ahead and get your popcorn ready because here we go. All right, let me pull it up real quick, make sure I've got the right one set out. I have released it on Twitter in case you're wanting to follow along. So at _Armchair QB show. So here we go. Week 1 is out. The rest of it comes out tonight, by the way. So your Tennessee Titans, they are going to be hosting the Arizona Cardinals. Sorry about that, Joey. I know you were hoping they would play the Colts in week 1 because you're going to be in Nashville. So that's a bummer. I'm going to be in Nashville the week before, so I really don't give a damn. But anyway. The one of the biggest ones that jumps off at me, Sean, the New York Jets at the Carolina Panthers week 1. Sam Darnold plays the New York Jets in week 1.
Almost like it was meant to be.
The Dallas Cowboys are at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Don't worry, I am going to pull this up in a minute and share it on our screen. I'm going to rattle them off real quick, and then I'll go ahead and grab it off of our screen. Jacksonville Jaguars, you are at the Houston Texans week 1. Trevorville goes to Rapeyville. I'm joking.
Maybe. No, you're not.
Dallas is at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Right out the gates, Dak Prescott versus Tom Brady. You know you got to love that one. Arizona at Tennessee, we already said that. Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Week 1. The San Francisco 49ers come to Motown to take on the Lions. Seattle Seahawks, they will be at the Colts. Minnesota at Cincinnati. The Chargers are at Washington. Miami is at New England. Cleveland and Kansas City is the 4:25 CBS game. So that's the one most people are going to get, Browns and Chiefs in week 1.
Ooh,
I find
that's
that
a hot one.
Yeah. I find that interesting because there's also other CBS games at 1:00 in week 1. And they usually have very few because remember that is typically the championship of the US Open tennis.
Right.
I'm thinking that they've moved that around. I'm thinking they finally came to their senses. I haven't seen that, but that's what I'm thinking because normally CBS has very few games, and the rest of them are on Fox in the early game, and then they get the late game because that's how they draw you in. Or they do the vice versa, and they don't do a late game, and that's where they put the championship of men's tennis. So
Right.
I'm thinking they're like, no one's watching this. We've been trying this for 37 years in a row. Let's try something different. Miami is at New England. Denver is at the Giants. Philadelphia at the Falcons. Green Bay, if he is still there, Aaron Rodgers travels to New Orleans to take on Jameis Winston and company.
New Orleans.
The Bears are at the Rams, and Baltimore at Las Vegas. What I don't have in front of me is what are the night games. What I think is that we're getting Green Bay at New Orleans the way it's laid out, or it's Dallas Tampa Bay is the Sunday night game. I think it's probably Dallas Tampa Bay, but it's a little confusing the way they laid it out. They didn't put the times on this. I had the CBS times, but I don't have the times for the other games. By doing deduction, I think we were getting either Chicago at the Rams or Baltimore at Vegas as our late game on Monday night. But I do have someone who's working on it, and they're trying to get the times for me. So we'll see if I get that here in the next hour. So with all that being said, did you pull it up on Twitter where I tweeted it out so that you can look at it?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. I was actually just getting that notification.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can find it real quick because I have to find it on the other device as we are.
Yeah, there it is. You've got it.
Okay, yeah.
Tweeted out 12 minutes ago. So Dallas at Tampa is the Thursday night opener, right? That's because we always start on a Thursday night. So Cowboys at Bucks is the kickoff. That's going to have some eyeballs.
Yeah, Cowboys. That's a fair statement. Cowboys at Bucks is probably the Thursday night game. That's true. I forgot about the Thursday night game, so that would make sense. Cowboys at Bucks. Doing the math on the way it was laid out, my guess is Green Bay at New Orleans is the Sunday night game, and maybe the Bears, Rams, and Baltimore, Las Vegas are the double headers. I was thinking it was one or the other because they're both on the West Coast, but maybe they're both the double headers. So,
well, that's the 1 week of the year that they usually, I mean, obviously we're not going to talk about COVID year, but usually it's always a Monday night doubleheader because they'll do the regular time one with their regular crew. And then for years, you know, we would be subjected to the Mike and Mike broadcast, and it was always the Raiders. It was always in Oakland. So just keep it going. I mean, do it while they're in Vegas. Why not?
Yeah. I'm thinking Chicago, Los Angeles might be the early game, which is strange because you would think that they wouldn't both be. Normally they take two East Coast teams, right?
Yeah.
And put them up together. But what it looks like is that they're either falling back asswards into luck and getting Green Bay, New Orleans, or they're most likely getting. I mean, Chicago Rams is just as fun, especially
really is
if we get Justin Fields in week one. Philly, Atlanta is one of the late games. The way I have it drawn up here, I'll go ahead and point to it. What was sent to me was that the cutoff on the 425 games for CBS was Cleveland game and the Denver game. Okay. So by deduction, the rest of these, well, Dallas Tampa Bay most likely is your
Thursday night opener.
Thursday night game. But everything else you see below is most likely a 1:00 Eastern kickoff. And then Philly, Atlanta, that might be a backup game as well. So there might be one on Fox. Okay.
Right.
So Philly, Atlanta might be the one on Fox, or Denver. And I'm pretty sure Denver, the Giants, the way it was sent to me, is also 425 kickoff. So that's what you have there. And then I would think that this one is your Sunday night game, Green Bay at New Orleans. Like I said, the person that sent it to me, they didn't give me times, but I was just happy to have it. I just gotten done with my morning routine, and I was sitting down and setting up all my stuff, and here comes my inbox that, hey guys, NFL schedule release, and I see it, which was awesome. And then I started hearing it getting leaked by the CBS morning show, what I don't know what they're called nowadays, the Today Show or something like that. I guess they were leaking it just before we went on air, and now it's starting to actually trend on Twitter. But there you have that. I'll go ahead and take that off so you can see Sean's smiling face. And wow, real quick, without doing a complete dive on this, give me 3 games that you're most excited to see in that first week outside of Dallas Tampa. I think that one's obvious.
Yeah, that one's obvious. Jordan Love at Taysom Hill, Green Bay, New Orleans. Let's go. No, I'm kidding. That's not it. That's not the one. The 3 that will be most fun for me to watch and that we'll have the closest eye on, especially as we get back into football season, we do the start and sit them. Arizona at Tennessee is very, very interesting to me. Obviously, that's going to be on here locally, but those are 2 franchises that have a lot of question marks going into this season. So I'll be really curious to see, what the team on the field looks like and how they've, shuffled that roster. I'll have Seattle at Indianapolis on for my son. I'm a bridge Colts fan because, he just loves the Colts more than anything. That's a really interesting game, right? Because you got Seattle, I think people have already forgotten there was a lot of hubbub around Wilson early in the offseason. And then Rodgers came in and stole all of that. And you got Carson Wentz, behind a new left tackle, and Eric Fisher, if he's good to go week 1, that's the other one. And then, the one that I'm going to pay the most attention to is Miami at New England. What does Tua look like? What's his
Aaron Rodgers versus Cam Newton? Or probably Aaron Rodgers versus Mac Jones.
Probably
the old guard versus the new guard.
I don't think Green Bay is going to move him.
Which means it's going to be Tua Tagovailoa versus Jameis Winston in the Big Easy.
Those are the 3 that are most interesting to me. Obviously, I'll be watching the Lions game. They're going to
I'll throw 3
get destroyed.
I'll throw 3 at you that have my interest. The Jets Carolina one is very obvious. So I'll kind of steer clear of that, but who the hell doesn't want to see Sam Darnold go up against the Jets? Of course, Zach Wilson will probably be starting week 1. We don't know that for sure, but I would say he will be. And as far as the Panthers go, I think when they traded Bridgewater away, that is a definite sign that they're going to probably be leaning towards Darnold for week 1. But Pittsburgh at Buffalo, oh my God. So we'll get a probably much healthier Roethlisberger going into Buffalo. How many playoff implications could that have from week 1? Because you could get at the end of the season and go, holy crap, we shouldn't have just, half-assed that week 1, right? So that game's huge to me. Another one that I have circled because I think it'll be a fun game to watch is obviously Cleveland at Kansas City. Because with those 2 teams going at it, remember, Cleveland came really close to knocking them out in the playoffs last year. And so for them to hit the ground running week 1, that should be a lot of fun. And then I'm going to say it again, Bears at Rams, man, that has got my that has really got my imagination going, I guess, because if for some reason Fields can be on the field and starting in week 1, and then you got Matthew Stafford going for the Rams and what they're going to look like. And you'll have Cam Akers and obviously that entire offensive production. They should be able to be damn near lethal. I would think they're going to have all the toys in place. And then on the other side, the Bears defense, how they'll counteract with it. And we all know that the Rams defense, normally don't play well early in the season. It's just been kind of their MO. They get better as the year goes on. Will they be ready to hit the ground running in week 1? So that's kind of my take. We'll obviously get into this big time tomorrow when we get the whole slate. But I thought that was interesting. For people that missed it, week 1 is out. You can pull it up on our Twitter, or you can just rewind the show and take a look at it. Let's go ahead and I think with all that happened, we'll go ahead and skip the Braves Jays reaction. We don't really have time. Let's go diving into. I mean, for those of y'all missing, it was a good game. I will be doing Braves Country this morning, so if you want to catch up on that, you can. But let's go ahead and dive into the NHL playoffs. We got coming around here in just a couple of days, and I want to get your reaction on what looks like to be some very, very fun matchups.
Yeah, it's scheduled to start on May. It was scheduled to start on May the 13th. I think they're going with the 19th now, a week from today. But that I haven't even heard a definitive answer on that because there's still games left to be played in the North Division amongst the Canadian teams. I'm not sure why. I don't know why they don't just coin flip for the draft lottery, which is basically what Calgary, Ottawa, and Vancouver are finishing up their schedule for, because there's no impact to the standings whatsoever.
Yeah,
Montreal,
think they would just punt those games, man. Who cares?
Yeah, Montreal can't jump Winnipeg. Winnipeg can't jump Edmonton. I don't understand the purpose of playing them out, but I'm not Bill Daly or Gary Bettman, so I'm sure they have a reason.
Yeah, there really is no reason. There's literally no reason.
It's not a good one. I can't think of a good one.
If you want to do that, have Calgary, Ottawa, and Vancouver just play a round robin. Okay,
exactly.
Let's get to the damn playoffs. Now, I thought the NHL playoffs were actually starting in a few days. Is it being pushed back again?
The thing I've heard is the 16th for the 3 divisions. So that would be Saturday, right?
Okay.
And then they're going to start the North Division playoffs.
Yeah, because originally it was supposed to
start on the 19th once all their games are concluded, once all of Vancouver's makeup games are concluded, which is where I'm like, 3 days isn't a big deal. It's not like they're starting 10 days later, but why start that division 3 days later on the same day Vancouver wraps up when Vancouver's games mean nothing? Really just doesn't do a lot for me. So just to cover it locally, so we've got some
because
intrigue.
The longer you wait, then you're waiting around for the damn NBA to start up, and then you'll be going head to head against them again, which is just so stupid that these two franchise sports leagues can't get their head out of their ass earlier. One of them needs to start like a month before the other one. It's just
exactly.
It's so damn stupid. I can't believe how dumb both are. More so on the NHL for years, because the NBA has always been the one that everybody's watching. But now that their viewership is in the tank, yes, the NHL definitely has a chance to make that next step. But man, jump on it while the iron's hot. I just don't get it. I'm gonna see if I can pull up.
So one thing that's interesting to watch with the NHL going forward, just from a media perspective, is signing the big deal with ESPN. I'll be curious to see if they manipulate their schedule at all or change their start time, move it back, move it forward, see how they do it. Because bar none, again, all the playoffs are great. Don't get me wrong, but the NHL playoffs can year to year really, really hold up well. There's always a few surprises. There's always a team that you don't think is going to make a deep run that makes a deep run. Some goaltender gets hot. I'll give you who I think those teams might be in just a minute. But their playoffs, bar none, are some of the best playoffs we have in all of professional sports. So why you wouldn't want to showcase them while the NBA is wrapping up their regular season and have everybody watching them?
All right, I've got
a mystery to me.
I've got news. The playoffs Bruins Stanley Cup playoff series will begin Saturday.
Okay.
And that is the only one that I have verified, but I actually found an article from NHL.com, so I wouldn't think that they're wrong.
No.
So the Bruins Capitals begin Saturday 7:15 in Washington, game 1 of a best-of-7 series, and that's all they have listed. I'm going to see if I can find other stuff. But we know we get Caps Bruins Saturday night. Okay. It would stand to reason there would be at least one more game played earlier in the afternoon, but we're at least going to get that night game. So I'm thinking with the 7:15, that means they're going to put a West Coast team on afterwards.
You would think.
I would think, especially with it being the first game of the season.
Probably the Minnesota-Colorado series would be my guess, would be the place they would start, but
right.
Who knows?
So, and everything else I'm finding is just division breakups. So we do know that at least one game is starting on Saturday. Hopefully I can find more of that news as it rolls on. But moving on from that, we're trying to do under the radar every week. So it's a team in sports that everyone's just kind of not paying attention to. And the under the radar team this week is the Boston Red Sox. And I know that's strange for people to go, What are you talking about, man? That's like markets, the Red Sox nation, but they are flying under the radar right now because people do not realize, I don't believe, how good of a season they're having. You know, you got the Boston Red Sox right now sitting alone in first place, 2 games in front of the Yankees. Granted, the Yankees are coming on strong. They've won eight of their last 10. They still have 2 more to play in Tampa. Tampa's got to slow them down and cool them off. But the Boston Red Sox right now, I figure we talk about it now before it all falls apart. The Boston Red Sox are hanging in there. They've lost some games that you're like, what the hell? But at the end, when it's all said and done, they're a 22-15 ball team.
Yep.
And where do you see from the Red Sox so far? Because what I see is pitchers that are over performing, guys that they're getting years from guys that they weren't really expecting. They were hoping, but they weren't expecting. And then that
Right.
Boston Red Sox offense is going to score. When you have Xander Bogaerts, JD Martinez in that lineup, you could fill the rest of it with the Bad News Bears, and they're still going to score 4 runs a game. That is a very potent offense. What say you?
Yeah, so just looking at some of their advanced numbers, and I know we do more of this on Saturday, but their OPS plus leaders are JD Martinez at 1047, which is
shocking.
Nuts. Xander Bogaerts at 972, Devers at 937, Verdugo, who was considered kind of a bust as part of that Mickey Betts trade. And that trade still is indefensible. But
that was idiot fans. That was Red Sox fans that didn't know the damn sport, that didn't understand. Verdugo is damn good.
Verdugo's good. No, he's awesome. He's an awesome center fielder, 814 OPS. They've got 2 guys on the 10-day injured list right now, over 700 on OPS. The thing that I think is not sustainable is some of the performances out of their pitchers. So ERA plus, where 100 is league average. These are the guys that are above 100 for them. Adam Ottavino's at 104. Ottavino's good. He's a quality middle reliever. He's been around the league for a few years. Eovaldi's at 104. Martin Perez is 109.
What's crazy about Ottavino is they got him from the New York Yankees.
Got him from the Yankees. Yep.
They traded for him. You never see the Yankees and Red Sox traded. When they did, I was like, man, his arm must be about to fall off.
His arm, yep, he must be.
What in the living hell is going on there? And he's actually having a very good season.
Yep, they're getting a 137 ERA plus out of Nick Pivetta, who's the guy that was a prospect in the Phillies organization for years that they just straight up gave up on. I mean, they just handed him away. And Garrett Whitlock at a 285 ERA plus is just nuts. So I don't know that all that is sustainable. Like even in some of the fantasy leagues that I'm in where I have Barnes, I have that $100 one I've mentioned. I mean, I traded Barnes for some longer term assets just because I don't know that he's going to continue with the way he's throwing fastballs in the zone to get guys out. But it's interesting. There's 4 teams right now with 22 wins. You got the St. Louis Cardinals, the San Francisco Giants, who you and I have talked about a lot personally. Nobody had at this point being this good. The Boston Red Sox and the Oakland A's. And of those 4 teams, you know, who's likely to stick around? I mean, you know, the Yankees are coming. They weren't going to be the worst team in that division forever. You know, their early returns were overrated. But it looks like we're shaping up to have another Red Sox Yankees fight to the finish, which would be fun for baseball.
The Cardinals are playing better than I thought they would out the gate because they normally stumble out the gate. I figured they would. I did pick them to win the division, but I didn't think they would be playing this well early on. Normally, the Cardinals, who are 22-14, are normally 14-22 right now. And they're like, oh God, we're 6 games back. We got to fight to finally catch. And I figured they would eventually just run down the Cubs and the Brewers. Cubs and Brewers and Reds, for that matter, better watch out because they might run away and hide if they don't start getting. St. Louis has a big series that they're in the middle of. They won the first game last night at Milwaukee this weekend. This week, excuse me. Milwaukee needs to win that series.
What was our concern? Our concern coming into the year when we did team previews was Milwaukee can't hit, and Yelich is still out. And I've watched a few Cardinals games. I thought that they would be in the mix. I'm very surprised at how much hitting they've gotten from guys, especially young guys, outside of Arenado. Edman is a legit top 7 leadoff hitter who gets on base a lot. Dylan Carlson's good. You know, they've gotten nice production out of that first baseman who's on the injured list right now. I was worried where the runs would come from if Arenado didn't hit, and he's hit well so far. The pitching has been, the real surprise is they pitch well. They're always going to defend well because that's just they breed that. They seem to breed defensive stars in St. Louis. They've been a nice surprise as well. We'll maybe get more into them later on, but just the Red Sox have been a real shock, and I hope it continues because Red Sox Yankees late in the year, they're fighting it out. That's a guaranteed ratings for Major League Baseball.
Amen to that. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we have got your DFS of the day. We're going to talk about the Colts and their new signing, and then we're going to play a little either or. We'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Question: what kind of bear is best?
It's a ridiculous question.
False. Black bear.
Well, that's debatable. There are basically two schools of thought.
Fact: bears eat beets. So bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Bears do not. What is going on? What are you doing? Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Millions of families suffer every year. Michael! Oh, that's funny. Michael!
ACC football covered like no other here on the Armchair Quarterbacks.
And backpedaling Lawrence flips it open, wide open. Justin Ross up and running. The Alabama native wins the foot race. And Clemson strengthens its grip on this championship game.
Wow, gut punch by Clemson right there.
Akers breaks free. Cam Akers in the clear. Foot race. And they finally split him down at the 5. The electric play the nose needed.
He wants another deep shot. Drops it in.
It pitches to Searcy. Searcy launches into the end zone. And the Yellow Jackets score again.
Armchair Quarterback Radio is ACC country.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in socially distanced dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
Are you okay, pal?
I had a rough day on the job.
Are you going home now?
I was about to.
Well then, you just fulfilled the first rule of law enforcement. Make sure when your shift is over, you go home alive.
I'm Amy Lawrence, and I'm up late, always, after hours hanging out with you on CBS Sports Radio. Check it out, 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific.
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Prime time, drive time. The Armchair Quarterbacks are good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterback.
Hey, Jacksonville, winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com/radio to save 50% on your first service. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com/radio today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Grace, wait a minute. Do you think you got me a tape of the show? What on earth for? Well, how often do you get to hear your son on the radio?
I'm on the radio every day.
Good morning. Welcome back here to CBS Sports Radio, the Armchair Quarterbacks. Armchair Quarterback Show on YouTube Live. And already an eventful morning so far as the NFL schedule release. Week 1, we got a hold of it. And several interesting matchups. Sean, Joey's saying that he's seeing where there's only one game on Monday night. There's only one Monday night game this year, which I find that strange. But if that's true, then maybe the Rams and Bears are the Sunday night game. So
there was a report somewhere that, and it was on Twitter, it wasn't well sourced, but it was just when some of the games started to leak that Bears Rams was the Sunday night game. But that doesn't make any sense to me because ESPN's contract, and I could be wrong. Richard Deitch would be a better person to ask than me, but I'm pretty sure ESPN's contract for several years now has been a Monday night doubleheader for
Right.
Monday Night Football. So
yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll find out tonight. You know, one of the things I did hear something a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't hear the full context, so I never commented on the show because I wasn't sure what they were talking about. But it sounded like, and I believe it's this year, maybe it's starting next year, there's going to be several Monday night doubleheaders starting earlier. So maybe that's why they don't have the week 1 Monday night doubleheader, that they're going to be, in other words, not the 7-10 o'clock BS, but more of the probably 5:30 Eastern. And then you get your second game at 8:15. That's what I heard a couple of weeks ago. But like I said, didn't get the full context of it. I was in a meeting and I heard it, but no one went into it, and I was not. I was way too far down the totem pole to be, go, hey, I got a question. So we got any homework tonight? You let this guy in. So I just kind of I try to keep my mouth shut, during those meetings, try to absorb all I can. So I guess it'll all be answered tonight is the short of it. So
is anybody smarter than, and I know we've had this conversation, but is anybody better at controlling their sport staying in the news than the NFL and Roger Goodell? I mean, they own these little pockets of time in their off season that they didn't used to own. And he's so smart about that, having this broadcast on national TV and, making people want to watch it. It's just,
well, what he has found out is that your average sports fan in America is an idiot. Okay. And so most of them don't watch anything but the National Football League. I hate to break that to those of us who love sports and love all sports and don't understand that philosophy, because I don't understand it. I'm like, what do? You watch 17 ball games a year? That's your life? Just end me now. But there are people who only follow the NFL, and there's a slew of reasons why, but that's the only sport that they follow. So when they drop it out there, look, the NBA dropping a schedule release, no one gives a crap. Even NBA,
it's 82 games. 82 games. It's hard to break down.
And so that's what it really comes down to. And the college ones are done so far in advance, everybody knows about it. So they're the only sport that plays few ball games, and all eyes are on them. No one gives a crap when Major League Baseball really. You do if you're going to go to games and you're trying to play in your summer, but as far as watching, you're like, I know we're going to play the Mets 19 times. I don't have to know exactly when the hell we're going to play them. I'm going to be excited and watch it no matter what. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And people get excited. There's so many fans out there that's the only sport even if there's other sports that they watch, that's the only one that they know anything about. Like, I think if you grab your average sports fan off the street, they can only name 3 players off their team of a football team. They can't do it on a lot of the other sports, right? They're like, I don't know.
It's true.
Braun,
fair enough.
AD, and I don't know that guy with the the weird haircut. That guy's on the Lakers. don't you have front row seats, Jack? don't you know these players? Not really. I just go there and kind of shake hands. So yeah, I really think that's where we're at, and people get excited about it, and they do a good job of. One of the reasons why it's so exciting, because they used to leak that thing out and release it in the newspaper in USA Today and whatnot in like April, and then you had the draft. Well, now the draft has become so big, they've realized, let's wait until the damn draft is over and hit them a couple of weeks after, because we'll hit them. All eyes are going to be on that schedule release tonight on TV. Now, I'm going to be watching baseball, but I will have a monitor on it, and I'm more of the effect of I'll wait till after till everything is released and then go back and look at it, right? I don't need Booger McFarland telling me that, what game I should be excited about, and go into detail, and as he misquotes a quarterback that he never played with. Anyways, moving on from that. DFS time. Let's get your gambling bone on. Where are you going at today for some classic DFS?
All right. So one game I've got an eye on, and their recent results would indicate that this is not the smartest play. However, I'm keeping a bit of an eye on the Kansas City-Detroit game. I'm going to explain why. Detroit has had a very, very shaky middle bullpen, and Casey Mize hasn't gotten out of the fifth inning in but one of his starts so far this year. So one guy I'm taking a look at is Carlos Santana at 4,400. It's been a little bit cold lately, but there's no time to get right, like against the Detroit Tigers. And in that same game, Danny Duffy on DraftKings is 8,900, which is in the upper third of guys, but it's not the premium you're going to pay for a Garrett Cole or a Jose Urias today. Danny Duffy's career numbers against Detroit are insane. I think he's only lost to them like 3 times over the years. He's a good strikeout pitcher, and nobody in all of baseball has struck out more than the Detroit Tigers this year. So keeping an eye on that one. You could also make an argument for Jorge Soler, who hit a 3-run bomb last night, or a Whit Merrifield if you want to pay that much. But that's the big game that I'm taking a look at today. The other one I would put as kind of a backup is that Toronto-Atlanta game. As much as I hate to say it as a Braves fan, this is only Max Fried's second start off the DL. And this is Hyun-Jin Ryu's, I think, first start of the whole year. So that's a game that could get a little 8-70, 9-80, unfortunately, for the Braves. So that would be one where, you may want to take a look at a Teoscar Hernandez, who's cheap, a Dansby Swanson, who's cheap, or just pay for Freeman or Acuna if you're interested in that sort of thing, or Vlad or a Bo Bichette, because that one could get off the rails.
So this is Ryu's 7th start of the year, second since he came back from the IL.
That's what it is. Okay, second from the IL. There you
go. He has been pretty solid, a 3.31 ERA. But to your point, you mentioned a guy that's actually cheaper than Danny Duffy that I like a lot better in his matchup, Julio Urias. He is 8,700 on DraftKings this morning. And the reason why I have that one circled, Sean, the day that the George Floyd verdict came out, the same time I was watching Dodgers and Mariners. I had both TVs on. I had just gotten the MLB The Show. And so I just raced back. They told me they had my copy. I ran across the bridge and ran back before the riots broke out. And then I was, about to turn it on. And I was waiting for that verdict. And while I was waiting for that verdict, they had a damn masterpiece going in Seattle versus the Dodgers, and he pitched his ass off. And so that is the pitcher that I would go with as far as stacking purposes. The team or the offense that I would go with, I kind of get what you're saying with Max Fried. I just know that he can be deadly, so I would be a little leery of stacking them. But by the way, I can't wait to never see the Blue Jays again.
They're a pain.
They are. They're an absolute pain. But the team that I would push to click, so to speak, would be, they've got to get off the schneid eventually. And Justin Dunn has been solid, but I wouldn't call him lights out. He's going to be at the Dodgers. I'm really digging the Dodgers today. They're going to be at home. At some point, they've lost their last 5 series. There's got to be some sense of urgency in that clubhouse. And that's
you would think so.
That's essentially the DraftKings stat that I would go with. I wouldn't be scared to put me some Yankees in there because Ryan Yarbrough is going, which means you'll probably go about 3 innings and then they'll try to bullpen it. And
right,
Yankees, Luke Voigt is back. You can probably get him fairly cheap. I haven't looked at his actual number, but let's go ahead and move on because we will run out of time. Eric Fisher 1-year deal to the to the Indianapolis Colts. I think that is a big signing that no one's paying attention to. What say you?
Yeah, it is a big signing to replace Anthony Costanzo, who is, a 10-year starter and all-pro for the Colts. You're obviously going to have a good offensive line in front of Carson Wentz to figure out what you really are getting. Nobody's fumbled more than him the last couple of years. I think there's a lot going on with his performance in Philly that doesn't have to do with his physical ability. I think there was some mental stuff and just some coaching stuff going on there that just made it a very toxic situation. So if he's going to have a fair chance at being a good starter for the Colts, you're going to have to keep him upright. Fisher's coming off an Achilles injury. An Achilles for a left tackle isn't really a death knell. So he's not doing a lot of jumping. There's a lot of conjecture as to whether he'll be ready for week 1. Some projections say he won't be ready until week 4. He might have to start the season on the PUP list. Other places are saying he's already, doing light jogging drills and has been released for some light football work. And if he's been released for light football work in May, you would think he would be good to go by September to have built up that strength. But, assuming he can start week 1, and that's a big if because their backup left tackle situation is not great. That is a big signing. And I think went relatively under the radar. $9.5 million is not, it's not a league minimum contract. That's a big contract to give out for 1 year. And it's a big risk by Chris Ballard because I think they have designs on taking that division and taking it now, with the rest of the teams in the division being, either the Texans or in a state of flux with the Titans and the Jags.
Yeah. And here's the thing about him. I don't expect him to be ready by the beginning of the season, but if the Colts can hang in there and put together a decent year, like I think a lot of us believe they will, he should be coming in to the fold, I would say somewhere around November. And at that point, coming off that injury, he should be ready to roll. And you can slide him back into the starting. Fisher was only a casualty from the Chiefs because of the salary cap. Other than that, they would love to have kept him. So it's not like this guy's some bum. They're like, oh, well, he's just not making it. This is
he a first overall pick, or am I remembering that incorrectly? Is he a first overall?
I don't know. You're breaking the golden rule, so I don't really know where you're going with that. Don't you have the Google machine in front of you? But anyways, back to what I was saying. I think it's going to be a really damn good signing for them, and I'm a little surprised they got him for that cheap, and he stood out there for that long. So, anyways, moving on from that, we're gonna play a little either or, and let's go diving into it because we were gonna run out of time. So we'll go ahead and here we go. All right, pour the first beer. Would you take the Dodgers or the field to win the NL West?
If you had asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said the Dodgers. Now I'm going to take the field, and here's why. There are a lot of guys.
The pesky Rockies.
Well, not the pesky Rockies as much as I have serious concerns about the Dodgers bullpen. Jansen and Trinan. Trinan's been solid in the back end, but Jansen has been very, very sketchy. I think they'll still find a way to win the division, but the more I watch the Giants, the more I think they're not going anywhere. And there's a lot of belief in that team. And you wonder, I've always wondered, is there a honeymoon hangover, for teams that win the title, especially a team like the Dodgers who, got kicked, between the legs so many times at the end of the season. Now they've finally gotten over the hump. Or some of those guys, feet up on the desk a little bit. I'll take the field.
I'll tell you one thing about Jansen. He started to pitch a little better in the last few outings. And something that I've noticed from him, he added to his repertoire. And I don't remember seeing it earlier in the season. Maybe he just wasn't using it. Maybe he just wasn't confident in it. But Kenley Jansen's always tried to throw a cutter. He's always he's basically a poor man's Mario Rivera, right? What he has added, and think about this, if Mario Rivera would have ever added this. I mean, my God. It'd game over. He's added a 2-seam fastball. So for people who don't understand what that means is he's essentially been throwing those two, and the last 3 outings has been very hard to hit. Your cutter is going to go in like this. Okay. Your two-seam fastball is going to go like that. So you're seeing the ball, and just before it goes to break, you've got to already make the decision you're swinging the ball, and that's why he's getting a lot of swinging and misses. We'll see if it continues. Kenley Jansen, what has been concerned with him is his velo dropping a little bit, but I'm starting to say I would take the field as well. Although it seems so dumb to bet against the Dodgers, doesn't it? But you don't just have the fact that the Giants looked legit, but then you're also saying that you believe that by the time the summer gets rolling, San Diego could really catch fire as well. And the Dodgers no longer have an easy division to walk away with. And we'll see if that sense of urgency stays with them. They've never had to do it in these, 8 consecutive division titles. They've just cruised.
Yep, cruised.
What they've normally done, they started fairly slow, but it didn't really matter because they still had a 3-game lead. And then at some point in July, and this is what I'm expecting for them to do, they win like 29 out of 30 games, and you're like, holy crap. And then you look up in mid-August, you're like, we're 18 games out of first place, but we have the second best record in the National League. What the hell happened, right? And so you do worry about that if you're a Giants or you're a Padres fan, but I'll tell you what, you're in it. Arizona's better than I thought they would be. I still don't think that they can sustain.
They're frisky though. They're not a pushover.
No, they're not a pushover, but 162 games, they're not a threat to win the division.
No.
But they could be a pain in the ass and cost you a division. All right, the next one we have. If you were starting to make a trade, and this is, you look at the Tigers situation where they're in a full rebuild, would you rather have DeGrom or would you rather have Ohtani? Don't worry about what it would take for you to get the guys in the trade. I'm
right. No,
you
absolutely.
just have them for future picks. We'll just say.
I have seen very few pitchers better overall than Jacob DeGrom. I would say Shohei Ohtani, simply because if you're owning a franchise, right? Ticket sales, he's in the lineup every day, right? He's not, it's not every 5th day, and every 5th or 6th day, he's the starter too. So he's the modern day Babe Ruth. I would take Ohtani for that reason. It's hard to pass up on DeGrom, but because he's only starting every 5th day, if you're asking me if I'm the owner of the team, I would rather take Shohei Ohtani.
Change the circumstances, same question. You're a contender like the Atlanta Braves. Would you rather have Ohtani or DeGrom?
I would take DeGrom just because, Ohtani is a bit of an unknown variable. And there's some context to that. If you're the Braves, you don't have the full-time DH yet. You don't have it this year. So would you trade for Ohtani right now if he was offered up? Probably not. Since, you're trotting him out every 5th day and on the days he's not starting, you can't really, I guess you can put him in the outfield and send Pache back to Gwinnett. But I would take DeGrom because that's a guaranteed 6 wins in the playoffs. You're that much closer to winning a World Series.
Yeah, I'm taking DeGrom all day, every day, because I know what he is, and I know that you can put him out there. He's got like a 0.68 ERA. I get it that he's had some injuries here. He's on the IL again, but then again, Ohtani gets injured all the damn time. So what are we talking about? And Ohtani, one thing I know about DeGrom, if he goes out and strikes out 7, he's not walking 6. And that's the problem with Ohtani, is that he looks great, and the people who don't really know the sport, you'll see him. I see people from ESPN who are not baseball fans that they're not much more known for their football content, just drool over Ohtani, talking about he's the greatest player in the sport. It's like, you don't really get it because you don't understand. Like, there's a reason why the Angels are in last place, right? Because him hitting a home run every once in a while, but yet not being able to get out of the 4th inning, that's a problem. That's a problem. So I really, as good as a hitter as he is, I think they should have concentrated him on one or the other, and he's a phenomenal pitcher. But you cannot go out every 5 days and pitch and not do the work behind it. So
right.
That's always going to catch up with you. If you are the Lions, would you rather have Justin Herbert or Derrick Henry?
If I was the Detroit Lions, I would rather have Justin Herbert. Franchise quarterback, big, tall, long hair, young guy with a $1 million arm. Running back is not the position anymore in the National Football League that it was when we were kids. I mean, we're finding guys in the 4th and 5th round of the draft now and making them into serviceable running backs. But you don't have any real chance to win the Super Bowl anymore outside of a few outliers here and there. That Ravens team with Dilfer and a few other examples, but you really don't have a path to winning the Super Bowl without a top 10 or a franchise quarterback. So Herbert all day for me.
That'd be a hard pass to give up the best running back in the game to give and pick the quarterback that we think he's going to be legit. We think he's going to be great, but the sample size is obviously very short. And we've seen a lot of rookies come out and then they come back. And for whatever reason, they Vince Young you. That'd be such a tough one. Considering Detroit's situation, already having a quarterback, and a solid quarterback, I would probably take Derrick Henry if I'm that coaching staff, because he seems like he would be a meat and potatoes kind of guy that coaching staff would love. But I can see the draw of bringing Justin Herbert in to put butts in the seat and hopefully score a lot of points. All right, the last one on either or. You're rebuilding the Pistons, so we all know how the NBA works. Once you get one domino to come to you, you get the free agency to follow. So it's not like a true rebuild in other sports. So with all that being said, and you're just trying to start building a team and you'll worry about your other free agents later, would you take KD or would you take Curry?
I would take Curry because that is the style of play that's being played right now, is threes, having a point guard who can initiate the offense. Kevin Durant's a phenomenal player, don't get me wrong. Can't shake a stick at him. But guys post Achilles never have that burst, especially close to the basket, that they had before. So I don't know that he's going to age really well on those legs. I think those legs could be a problem. Steph has been, for the most part, aside from the first 2 years of his career when he had some ankle problems, very, very healthy. And he's going to go down, relatively soon as the greatest shooter of all time. And even though I don't like to watch the product as much because of what it is kind of a free throws and 3-point league right now. And until they change the rules to kind of minimize that, you want to cater to that kind of play. So Curry for me.
All right, so turn back time and do our walk-offs here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Let's go ahead and get it. Let's get it. On this date in 2019, just a few years ago, Man City beats Brighton to claim back-to-back English Premier League titles with 98 points, one ahead of runners-up Liverpool. Why is this relevant today? Well, Man City just won the damn thing again. So there you go. It's a short run there, Liverpool. There's some Liverpool fans that I know that I haven't seen since the pandemic. I'd like to run into them right now. And I'm not a Man City
real quiet.
I'm not a Man City fan, but they really gave me a distaste for Liverpool. I mean, if it's not already bad enough that it sounds like liverwurst, there's a lot of things that I'm not digging there. Also, on this date in 2000, so 21 years ago, I found this interesting. Boston's Pedro Martinez ties an AL record set in 1968 by Indians hurdler Louis Tiant for most strikeouts over a 2-game period. The Red Sox pitcher had 17 in his last start against the Rays, 15 against the Orioles on this date in 2000. So 32 overall.
That's a lot.
What I do remember about 2000 Baltimore Orioles and 2000 Tampa Bay Devil Rays, there ought to be an asterisk on that because those were not two Major League Baseball teams. I can tell you that right now. I remember those teams. I mean, that was like the Fred McGriff Devil Rays. All right, birthdays.
It's your birthday today.
53 years young, Mr. Tony Hawk, American skateboarder from Carlsbad, California. Happy birthday. You know, he's the only skateboarder I can name. There's a video game. That's pretty much it. Jim Furyk is also 51 years old today. Happy birthday to him. U.S. Open winner in 2003 and 17 PGA Tour championships. Also, happy 42nd birthday to Steve Smith. I would have thought he was a little older than that. I feel like he's been gone a lot longer than that. Steve Smith, the football player, not the wasn't there a basketball player named Steve Smith as well? Yeah.
Yep. At Michigan State. Yep.
Yeah. And never lived up to what Steve Smith, the football player, did, but I do remember him. Also, well, I've lost it, but there was another one. But anyways, not important. What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
My walk-off to take it back.
Here it is. I knew there was one that was specifically for you. Happy 64th birthday to Lou Whitaker.
Oh, yeah. Sweet Lou.
Sweet Lou of the Tigers. 1978 AL Rookie of the Year. Was one of my favorite players as a kid growing up. Don't ask me why. I liked watching Whitaker in a Trammell. What's your walk-off?
Very comparable career numbers to Tim Raines and somehow still not in the Hall of Fame. My walk-off is happy trails to John Tortorella, who announced this week he was not coming back to the Columbus Blue Jackets. I do not think he will be out of work for very long. There's a couple of teams that really underperformed this year, namely the Philadelphia Flyers and possibly, although I wouldn't really want to see this, my Detroit Red Wings, that I think are going to give him a call. Stanley Cup winning coach, has been very, very active over the years, was with the Rangers, was with the Tampa Bay Lightning before he was with the Columbus Blue Jackets. 3 teams. I just mentioned Detroit and Philadelphia. I'd also keep an eye on Arizona as teams who may look to make a coaching change. And Torts has always a good quote and a very good X's and O's hockey coach. So he won't be unemployed for long.
My walk-off is we forgot to do our picks against the spread. Do you have a pick?
Yeah, I had 3 NBA games today. I had the Wizards +7 at the Hawks.
Okay.
And also keep an eye on
Just give me one.
Wizards +7 at the Hawks. They need this game.
Wizards +7 at the Hawks. And I am going to go to Major League Baseball, and I am going to take the Dark Knight going into Gotham to take on the Mets. It's going against Taijuan Walker. At only a -125, you can get the Orioles on the +1.5 line. I like the idea of the Orioles could stay within a run, possibly even win the damn thing. So Matt Harvey's pitch decent. I hope this is probably going to be a terrible take tomorrow. You'll be like, he gave up 17 runs. They wouldn't pull him out of the game. Stop it. He's already dead.
Right.
All right. Well, we got to run. Great job, Sean. And we will see you Saturday for the perfect pitch. Stephen Troche will join us. He has confirmed that. So 10 a.m. Saturday, we will see y'all then. There it is.
Goodbye, sweetheart, well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart, goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get enough